Good evening, everyone, and welcome to historic Crocker Field at the corner of Circle and Broad here in downtown Fitchburg, Massachusetts, where tonight FATV brings you girls flag football action here on FATV. I'm John Gergety, joined as always by Dan Bullock. And Dan, it's my first broadcast of the season for girls flag football. Looking forward to it. Should be a good night.
Well, it is my first one as well, but we are familiar with the sport. We've done a few games here and there, and so we have an idea what to expect. It is girls flag football between. This first game is going to be Wachusett 1 against Leominster 2. The hope was they would be on the middle field for the best views of all. There has been some miscommunication. There's no miscommunication between Wachusett because on the very first play from scrimmage is a touchdown pass to Julia Daly.
One play, they go play action, and Julia Daly takes it to the house. I think it was Jordan D'Amelio who threw the pass, Dan. She just beat her defender, got into open space, took it all the way down.
And just a beautiful throw right over the middle, and Wachusett quickly striking for 6. They are setting up from the 5-yard line, so going for 1. D'Amelio looking to her left, under pressure, she's sacked. Ariana McAndrew was able to reach in, yank down the flag. The conversion is no good, 6-0 in the first minute.
Just beat the line of scrimmage, came in, grabbed at the flag, pulled it right off the right hip. Good defense by Leominster. Score stays 6-0.
Yep. So the plan was for all 3 of our feature games to be right down the middle to give you the best sight lines of all. There has been a little bit of miscommunication, and they have left the TV field vacant for this first game, and so we're going to have slightly off angles for this.
Well, you know, there's 2 games going on at once. You create enough of a buffer between them. It makes sense. It's a reasonable thing.
So now we're going to see what Leominster 2 can do. Leominster 2 last year went 15-6. They were state semifinalists, losing to Leominster 1, of course.
Of course.
And they were 3rd place in Central Mass in 2024. And now we're going to see what Leominster 2 can do in the black uniforms. On first down, it will be a handoff, a rollout to the near side, and taking that was Ariana Cassange, and she's able to get a handful of yards on first down.
Maggie Jennings breaking into the backfield, making the tackle. Now I have a question for you, Dan, as regards these Deuce Devils, as we've come to call them, and no one's told me to stop, so I'm going to keep doing it because I think it's funny. How exactly are you seeing the blue on black? I know you have binoculars, but are they that good?
They're good enough that I can make it work.
Thank God.
Yeah, because I think from this distance, with that field, I may have to just handle play-by-play for this game.
I think it's your call all the way, bud.
So, quarterback for the Deuce Devils is Layla Fernandez, and she's under center on second down, looking to her left side. Oh, bit high there, trying to find Cassange again, but some good defense by the Mountaineers, and they're able to knock that one down.
Emma Roberts got her hand up, knocked it away, created a bit of an American Horror Story for Leominster. That's the first of, I actually don't have that many Emma Roberts references. I'm sure she's sick of them, so we probably won't make many more.
6-0 Wachusett in front. We're about 3 minutes into this contest. If the rules haven't changed since last time I checked, there are 18-minute halves that we're using here in the Patriots Girls Flag Football League. One designated rusher for the Mountaineers. As under pressure, the throw, bit underthrown, and a couple of Mountaineers in Jordan D'Amelio and Julia Daly there to break up that pass.
Just one rusher for Wachusett, but it was very good pressure. I believe it was Maggie Jennings coming and applying the pressure, creating that opportunity, and Leominster turns it over. They'll throw it away.
So I believe one of the rules that I don't remember from last year, but what is in the rule book when I looked over it earlier this week, is that when you are going to rush, you have to put your hand up to declare that you are going to rush, and then you have to actually rush. So that's, I think, a slightly new change, as a lot of misdirection. D'Amelio trying to create some time, throw it right over on the right side, try to find Daly again, but this time out of her hands.
Very similar to the play on which Wachusett scored their touchdown, Dan. They try to hit Daly going up the right side, pretty much just on a streak. That time the pass a little bit overthrown, too far for her to reach.
Second down now for the Mountaineers. Wachusett has 2 teams this year. This is Wachusett 1. We'll be seeing Wachusett 2 a little later. A short pass to the right side is going to be caught by Jillian Sanders. Then she gets her flag yanked. 2 different Deuce Devils there to stop the progress there for a gain of a few.
And it was Ariana McAndrew, Dan, who raised her hand and came and applied the pressure, but she's coming from basically a middle linebacker position. She's lined up a good 5-10 yards off the ball at the snap. So she's basically, she's getting ahead of steam, but there's also a lot of time for McAndrew to get to the quarterback.
Now a throw to the right side. That's right in the bucket there. A great catch by Emma Roberts. Have to check where the flag was pulled, but she's pretty close to the midfield line, which would be good enough for a first down.
And again, Dan, it's McAndrew, the lone rusher for Leominster. But she's coming from so far off the field, and Wachusett's lining up in the shotgun. They are giving D'Amelio time to drop back even further. There's essentially no pass rush for Leominster right now.
I think this is fourth down, but I am not sure. It's a quick short pass over the middle. It was that close to midfield, but I believe that pass is good enough for a first down as D'Amelio goes for the short pass to Julia Daly.
Just across essentially the marker, Dan, I see there's a red, essentially a dot on the field at, looking at it horizontally, the 26-yard line.
Yeah, I believe that dot is used for some other sports as there's a hard throw over the middle and cutting inside. Up the middle there was Roberts, nearly able to get to that football, but it just fell out of her hands.
It looks like, as I look at some of the other markings here, that red marking is pretty much in the middle of the hash marks, which would functionally be midfield as we're going sideline to sideline.
Yep, I want to say that red marker is there generally for field hockey. But I think because they're using sideline to sideline, it just perfectly falls in the middle, and you can use that as a judgment spot. So now you see the handoff pitch to the quarterback, so now she is entitled to run with it, and she's able to run a little bit upfield, but gets her flag yanked. Layla Fernandez was able to get there to rip it away.
Really creative play calling there by Wachusett, Dan. You're not allowed to just drop back and then take off, do a traditional scramble with your quarterback. But that time Wachusett had Maggie Jennings come in, take the snap, and then pitch it back to D'Amelio. It's a way to have your most explosive, most talented athlete, if you will, be the quarterback, but also take off and run with it every now and then.
I think this is third down, so D'Amelio will throw to the right side, but that pass is underthrown to Emma Roberts, and if I'm counting the downs correctly, that would be third down, and from there, a turnover, and the Deuce Devils will have it at the 5-yard line.
And it looks like they are changing things up. Leominster bringing their offense back out on the field, so it'll be first down for Leominster 2, trailing 6-0 in this game. Unofficially just about 7 minutes gone here in the first half. There is a scoreboard clock on your screen. That is also unofficial. It's different from the ones we have.
It almost certainly is. That's intercepted. It's going to be a touchdown for Wachusett. Izzy Chilton picks the root, steals it away, and makes it 12-0.
Izzy Chilton delivering a cooler to Leominster as they were looking to make the comeback and tie this game up. But she picks off the quarterback, takes it to the house. Now it's a 2-score lead for Wachusett, and they can make it 14 with a conversion here.
12-0 the score. Looks like they are lining up for one. Try to make it 13 instead. And that one intercepted. Defensive deuces are permissible, but the flag yanked immediately. Jismaya Comprez was able to come up with that interception, but before she could ever really get started, her flag yanked. If she had made it all the way back to the other end zone, the defensive deuce would have been good, and it would have made it 12-2, but instead 12-0.
So they would, of course, have been the defensive Deuce Devils. Obviously.
Of course. Yes, and as we know, in tackle football, the defensive deuce was removed from Massachusetts high school football in 2019. Meanwhile, on the middle field, where they're having the other game, we can tell you that Springfield International just scored a touchdown. That particular matchup there between Springfield International and Wachusett 2, both teams have white jerseys, so Wachusett 2 has to wear bibs for this game.
Fortunately, they brought them.
I'm not going to try to give you much more in terms of scoreboard updates than that because I don't know what the score is over there.
You're not going to do a Kevin Harlan and call both games, Dan? Come on.
At least Kevin Harlan had the benefit of an on-screen scoreboard when he was peeking in on the Dolphins and the Patriots.
Okay, fine. I mean details.
I mean, if we had 2 Travis Falks and 2 of those cameras, then perhaps we could have done that. But unfortunately, we have not perfected cloning technology there. First down, pass caught behind the line of scrimmage, and not much there for Leominster. May have even been a loss of yardage there on the completion to the right side.
And the Blue Devils really have not been able to get anything going offensively.
Ava Connor was able to make the catch on that one, but just spun their wheels a little bit. Heard some of the players from Leominster 2 last year were promoted to the Leominster 1 side this year to really bolster up that team. There's a throw over left side. It was caught a couple of steps, and then it flew out of the hands of Leanne Pena-Santana. Leanne Pena-Santana.
There you go.
Yep. Excuse me, I learned this name 10 minutes ago.
That's fine.
Now, fumbles are dead immediately once they hit the ground, so the catch and fumble, and thus you can't just recover the fumble.
Right. And it is once they hit the ground as opposed to once they fall out of the receiver's hands, because in that instance, Pena Santana made the reception, held the ball, and then was dispossessed, and it kind of flew out of bounds, right?
Mm-hmm. So the gain in yardage will stand. This is third down for Leominster. Quick short pass to the near side. Connor has the catch on the pass from Layla Fernandez. However, not much more there as Connor has her progress stopped with the flag pull. Third down and a lot to go, and the Deuce Devils will take no chances here. They will punt. Wachusett 1 will have the ball from their own 5-yard line. We're just past the halfway point of this first half of play. 12-0 Wachusett in front.
Really good tight coverage by Emma Roberts on that last third down pass, Dan. Leominster didn't even try to go downfield, just try to make a bit of catch and run, but Roberts knew the situation, kept her receiver well covered, pulled the flag as soon as she made the catch.
Throw to the right side on first down is going to be caught. Jillian Sanders with the grab. She's able to get about 5 yards downfield before her flag is yanked. It's the first of 3 games we'll be bringing you today. Later on in the 6:45 block, we'll have the Fitchburg Red side, if you will, taking on Wachusett 2. As that pass is tipped up and incomplete, broken up by Jasmaya Compres. And then afterwards, we'll have the Fitchburg Red side taking on Groton Dunstable. And I imagine that we'll probably see a return of the bibs because Groton Dunstable has worn basically the same color palette as Fitchburg.
That does seem like it could potentially be problematic.
Now the throw is going to be intercepted. Leominster with the pick. It's Tobin Lay, right place, right time. A bit of pressure from D'Amelio as she got that pass off. And Lay was right there to grab it as if it was intended for her all along.
Blanket coverage on the receiver by the Deuce Devils. They had one defender covering the underneath side. That was Lay. They had another defender up top try to make the quarterback force it in there, but Tobin Lay just turned around, read the ball. Really an easy catch. It basically fell into her lap, but good job by her to hang on to it. Gives Leominster great field position.
Best field position of the day for the Deuce Devils, but they'll only have 3 downs to score. Throw on first down to the right side is in and out of the hands of Ariana Cassange and falls incomplete.
I think it was Julia Day there, got a hand up. Helped swat that one away.
The second down for Leominster 2. They're about 20 yards from goal.
Turning into a bit of a chilly evening here at historic Crocker Field. Still plenty of good seats available. Come on down if you're in the area, but bring a jacket.
Chilly because we've sort of had that fake spring. Oh, and an interception! Emma Roberts is going to have nothing in her way, and she's going to make it 18-0.
Roberts saw that coming all the way. The design for Leominster was you roll the quarterback and the line out to the right and then turn around, throw back to the left. But honestly, a poor decision just to throw that ball. There was nothing good that could come out of that release. Roberts was right there, made the pick, took it to the house with ease.
Another pick 6 for Wachusett. Their second of the game. They lead 18-0. 0 for 2 on converts thus far. They'll try to change their fortune here. tighten up the formation with some time. Throw to the right side. It is going to be caught, and it's going to be a conversion. Maggie Jennings is able to pull that one in for the 1.
19-0 Mountaineers on top. Unofficially, maybe about 4 minutes, a little bit less than that to play here in the first half. Still time for the Blue Devils, obviously, but you got to think they'd like to put points on the board before halftime here.
This is the first game of the season for both of these teams. Wachusett, from my recollection, did not make it out of the preliminary round in the Central Mass tournament. I don't remember what their record was. I didn't seem to have it recorded in my paperwork, and archive.org just doesn't quite capture the standings because of the unique way that the Patriots flag football site works.
Now, here's a question for you, and I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, but back on Thanksgiving, we saw the Leominster and Fitchburg girls flag football teams play. Were there other teams in the areas who incorporated their flag football teams into Thanksgiving, or was that kind of just us, just for the rivalry kind of situation?
I think that was what it was. Connor had the catch on first down. A throw over to the left side is going to be complete to Kasange. She tries to cut across the middle, get a couple yards that way, but that's as much as she's going to get. Third down coming. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really good touch there.
Absolutely. I'm very much in favor of it. The point I was sort of driving at was that was, 4 or 5 months ago now, but it was in this school year, maybe early in the season, a bit of an experience advantage, however slight it might be toward the Leominster and Fitchburg sides. Obviously, this particular game not playing out that way, but it's something to watch, I think, maybe in the first couple of weeks of this young season.
Springfield International just got themselves a pick 6. Meanwhile, back on our featured game, it's third down coming. As Fernandez, with some trouble, checks up, but Jennings yanks her flag out and completes the sack.
Saw Fernandez again look to her left, try to find an open receiver. But Maggie Jennings burst in there, yanked the flag, held it high for all to see.
With that being third down, the Deuce Devils have no other alternative but to punt it away. In the late stages of the first half, between Wachusett and Leominster 2, 19-0 the score. They try to get it to Jennings there with all the footwork there from Jordan D'Amelio, but the pass just a little short with the rush coming from the Deuce Devils.
Fake the end around, try to hit the receiver coming out of the flat. She was open, pass, as you said, Dan, just a little bit underthrown. So it'll be second down in midfield for the Mountaineers.
The field 160 feet long as we're going from sideline to sideline. D'Amelio throws to the left side. It's caught by Jennings. Jennings started to cut up field. Diving flag pull by Layla Fernandez.
So 160 feet is what, 33 and a third yards?
53 and a third.
53 and a third yards.
Yeah,
that's right. We're decent at math.
Yeah, it's not evenly divisible by 3, and
it's not evenly divisible by anything.
Not really. Well, 4, but we don't have any special units that count in 4s.
That's fair.
Would be 40 of those if we had such a unit. D'Amelio over the middle. Jennings has the catch. She's trying to get towards the midfield line. She actually kept herself in bounds and was able to keep her flags in tow as well, so she's going to get the first down there.
Great work by Jennings, just tiptoeing down that left sideline. I thought she was going to step out well short of midfield, but she almost got all the way to the far hash mark before finally being brought down.
We've not seen too many gained first downs in this game because we had the first one be from the first play from scrimmage, and then the other 2 scores for Wachusett were pick 6s. Another catch made by Jennings. Our official checks the clock.
I've got 18:20 on my stopwatch. That may be pretty close to halftime here.
I think there was a timeout taken during the first half earlier. We had a bit of a lag where nothing was really going on. That's when I mentioned Springfield International scoring a touchdown earlier.
That is true.
And then with them spotting the ball where they have, I believe another timeout has been taken here. Each team does have a number of timeouts to use.
I note you say a number.
Yes, if I knew the exact number off the top of my head, I would tell you. So So that's part of the reason why the clock is very much unofficial, because we're not 100% sure when they are taking those timeouts. I believe we did have one of those there, one rusher for Leominster 2, as the throw over to the left side. It's been all Maggie Jennings on this drive, and she's going to complete it with a touchdown.
Just a quick, almost a corner route to the left side. Jennings found the space, turned, looked for the ball. She got it. Good throw, good catch. Another touchdown for the Mountaineers as they pour it on.
I think that was the 4th catch by Maggie Jennings on this drive alone, driving upfield to make it 25-0. Now Jennings will come under center to flip it over to D'Amelio so that she can try to run with it if need be, but she gets a pass off through so much coverage. In the end, it doesn't make its way to Julia Daly. It will fall incomplete.
Stop me if you've heard this before, Dan. Springfield International just scored.
Springfield International is pretty solid. I know last year they had a pretty good run of it, and then they were upset, I believe, in the preliminary round, but had a really good record going into the Central Mass playoffs, or Central Western officially is what it's called.
I believe it was Lady de Ocho who made the touchdown catch on that one, by which I mean a girl wearing number 8. We don't have Springfield International's rosters.
We do not. So I believe we are now at halftime here in our game here between Wachusett 1 and Leominster 2, with the score 25-0 in favor of Wachusett 1.
It really has been a tremendous performance by Wachusett, Dan. They've came out of the block strong. That first play, deep shot touchdown to Julia Daly. They had a couple of pick sixes in there. Really, they didn't have a methodical scoring drive down the field until the final minutes of the first half. Just a really good performance in every facet of the game by the Mountaineers.
That's what you're looking for too, and there's going to be some experience. Both these teams have experience coming in. There's going to be a handful of players really on both sides that may have had this may be their first season playing flag football. But Wachusett bringing a bunch of players in, and with the two teams, they probably may be doing the strategy of loading up with the most experienced players on this Wachusett 1 side. I know the Leominster 2 side may have a little less experience than before with the way that they've decided to organize the side this year.
And that's going to be, something that as this league hopefully, grows and develops and continues over, 5-10 years or so, it's going to be interesting to see how schools that are able to roster, 2 full squads, how they treat it. Do they treat it as, I don't want to say like a varsity JV situation, but do they go, let's put all of our eggs or all of what we think are our talented eggs in the one basket, or do they just want to go build 2 balanced teams and see what they can do?
Stop me if you heard this before. Springfield International just scored.
I think it's familiar, but,
If it was a pick 6, it was...
That part's familiar. I know they had another pick 6.
Yep. It was numero dos this time.
Okay. Looks like we are just about ready for the start of the second half. Back here on the left side, our feature presentation of this first of our triple header of games. Wachusett 1 leading Leominster 2, 25-0 as we get ready to start the second half. Now, does the clock start on the whistle or the first snap? An important question.
Well, the problem is we've only done, I think, 1 game in which there was an actual running clock on the scoreboard.
Okay.
So it's hard to really get the context for that. My assumption is it would start on the whistle.
That's a fair assumption. Let's keep an eye on the stripy shirted gentleman here at about the 26. See if he winds his watch at any time.
He's setting a stopwatch now.
There we go.
And he hasn't reached back to the watch, so he must have started then blew the whistle. So first down, throw to the right side is incomplete as Leah Fernandez tried to find Leonie Pena-Santana, but it looked like Pena-Santana started making her moves upfield before she truly controlled the football. Just got a little ahead of herself.
It's difficult for Pena Santana. She's very clearly one of the smaller players on the field. Each, I think, of the Mountaineers, Dan, has a rather significant height advantage. Makes those deeper passes difficult. This time they try to hit her out of the backfield, but unable to bring it in, brings up second down.
3 on the line, 1 out to the left. Hernandez under pressure, lofts it up, and wow, nearly intercepted, nearly caught, and then eventually just falling to the ground. It was out of the hands of D'Amelio, and then it was out of the hands of a Deuce Devil, and then it was onto the ground.
I think, yeah, D'Amelio and the Leominster player both thought they really should have had that one. It's rare that you see players from both teams walking dejected away from a football on the ground, being like, I should have had that.
As it goes sometimes.
Now third down for Leominster. They need to get something here if they want to go for it on fourth.
Under lots of pressure, got a pass off, and hands to her head. Pena Santana not able to call that one in. Even if she'd made the catch, her flag would have fallen immediately. It would have only been about a 5-yard gain. But instead of no yard gain, it's going to all come out in the wash as Leominster 2 has to punt here.
Yeah, D'Amelio was all over Pena Santana. Really nothing she could have done even if she made that catch. But the Blue Devils will punt it away. Wachusett takes over back 5 yards out from their sideline. So if it's 53 in the third all the way across, that means halfway is 26 and change?
26 and 2/3.
Okay.
Obviously, the ideal would be to do 150 yards, but football fields aren't really like that. And if you do actually make it 150, as Jennings will get the carry this time, weave her way up the right sideline. It takes 2 or 3 attempts before they finally pull her flag about 6 yards from midfield.
So 26 and 2/3. Okay, so basically we can call this second and 6.
Something like that.
Okay.
Not quite in the no-run zone, so they can run, they can pass. They're going to run this time, and it's going to be Jennings again. She's going to get the first down. Loses the handle on the football. It falls to the ground, but as we mentioned, the ball dies immediately once it hits the ground.
It was great work by Maggie Jennings to avoid the tackle, but as she was, dodging and weaving through the arms of the Leominster defender, she kind of raised the ball up over her head a little bit and lost the handle of it. Still a first down for Wachusett, though.
Mountaineers probably about 18 yards from goal. They're going to continue with the running offense, get it back to Jennings. She avoids a flag pull, avoids a second flag pull, but may have stepped out of bounds around the 3.
I think Wachusett has really identified a mismatch here with Maggie Jennings coming out of the backfield, get everybody going in one direction, then hand it to Jennings going the other way. This time she's one-on-one with a defender, and more often than not, Jennings can beat that defender. This gives a big gain for Wachusett, now second and very short to the goal line.
And there is a Deuce Devil who is literally on the wrong side of the ball. She lined up behind D'Amelio, which is not going to work. Throw over the middle, Jennings will get the touchdown. That'll make it 31-0. They couldn't run it that time because they were within 5 yards of goal. You cannot run the ball if you're 5 yards from goal or 5 yards from a first down. You must pass it. That's why they call those the no-run zones. But they pass it to Jennings anyway, and she'll finish it off with another touchdown. 31-0. Can have a little bit of laughs here.
We had a Blue Devil so far offside there, Dan. I'm astonished that there wasn't a whistle. It's like there's unabated to the quarterback, and then there's 5 yards behind the quarterback.
Meanwhile, the process not quite complete there as Julia Daly tried to haul it in and then get it across, but didn't really have a good control on the ball there. And I think, that was Dorsa Mainga who was lining up there. I think it was just a bit of a brain cramp there. Then she realized, wait a minute, we're not on offense. Wait a minute.
Nope, hold on. Something's gone terribly wrong here.
But she went back over. She was able to correct herself. The officials let it go. I think that was perfectly fine to do there. It didn't have an intrinsic effect on the play. And Wachusett scored anyway, so you really can't say it had an effect on the play.
Now, if anything, it affected the Blue Devils more than the Mountaineers.
So the score is now 31-0. And now we will see, after a 3-and-out on the first drive of this half, we'll see what the Deuce Devils can do, see if they can try to get themselves a score. Tobin Lay is going to take charge at quarterback. First down throw to the left side is well out of the reach of Ariana Kasange, and that will fall incomplete.
Change under center and maybe a change of game plan for the Deuce Devils. They bring in Tobin Lay and immediately she goes deep. We really haven't seen Leominster try to stretch the field at all. And at this point in the game, Dan, already 5 minutes and change gone in this second half. If the Blue Devils are going to get back into this one, they need to score quickly. So those home run balls are maybe the only shot they've got.
I don't believe the Deuce Devils had a first down in the first half, as that throw is going to be caught by Layla Fernandez. It'll be her first catch of the contest. Lay's first completion. Be a gain of a few.
Brought down pretty much right away by Jordan D'Amelio. Sets up third and ballpark that at 18. Third and 18.
That's what we'll try to go with there. Got to get to midfield for a fresh set of downs. It is third down, and then you can go for it on fourth down, but the jeopardy is if you go for it on fourth down and not get it, then the ball goes to the opposition at where the marker ends up going. It's a loft downfield left side. D'Amelio reads it well and comes up with the interception. That's the third pick of the day for Wachusett.
So we mentioned, Dan, they brought in Tobin Lay at quarterback, trying to get a little more air under the ball, get it downfield. That time Lay put a lot of air under that one. It just kind of floated up there. D'Amelio was camped under it, almost like a kick returner making a fair catch. She was able to settle herself under the ball, make the interception, and secure the turnover for the Mountaineers.
Wachusett one has had 2 pick sixes in this contest, but they'll have 3 shots at another touchdown here. But we have our first flag of the game, amazingly enough.
I think we're going to get a false start on the Mountaineers. There was a lot of motion before the snap there, and they will back Wachusett up. 5 yards, pretty much back to midfield.
Yep, and not only that, but all offensive penalties in girls flag football lose the down. So now it is second down for the Mountaineers with a lot of distance to cover. The throw there by Lucy O'Brien trying to find Izzy Chilton was underthrown due to a lot of pressure there. And it'll be quickly third down.
I believe it was Ariana McAndrew applying the pressure for the Deuce Devils.
Unofficially, a little over 8 minutes gone here in the second half. 31-0. Wachusett 1 is in front of Leominster 2. With the pressure again, and that is good pressure there from McAndrew. Forces a rough throw out of the hands of O'Brien. She's not able to make a completion there, and that's quickly 3 downs. And when the ball starts in offensive territory like that, only 3 shots. It's an auto punt on fourth down, and back to Leominster 2.
A little bit more velocity on that throw by O'Brien, Dan, but unfortunately the accuracy just wasn't there. She basically threw it behind Julia Daly. Nothing Daly could do. That was, would have had to turn around and then make a full extension catch just to have the ball 20 yards from the goal line.
See, Wachusett just trying out different personnel. They have a healthy lead right now.
First game of the season, got a big lead. Why not?
This is just the second session in Central Western Mass. As Lay throws on first down out of the hands of Fernandez, and that's really been a challenge too for Leominster 2, is really being able to control the football as it comes in.
Yeah, it's a cool night. It's chilly. I'm sure it's a difficult rock to handle, but at the end of the day, you got to make those catches.
Second down, throw to the right. Ava Connor's got the catch. Just runs into a bunch of green shirts. Not much of anywhere to go.
And just in case there was any question, Dan, as soon as the play is over, Eve Latondra is rushing back to her position and shoving her hand up in the air, being like, yes, I am rushing this quarterback. Here I come.
That's lofted up there. That's going to be another interception for Wachusett. Julia Daly will have the pick this time.
And as Latondra said, here I come. Here she came. She applied a ton of pressure on Tobin Lay, forced the bad throw, and it's another pick for the Mountaineers.
4th interception of the day for Wachusett 1. And they'll have the ball in the offensive half of the field. Again, up by a score of 31-0. That throw over the middle will be caught, and making the evasive moves there was Julia Daly on the first reception of the day from Lucy O'Brien, the first pass completion, I should say, for O'Brien. And a good chunk of yardage gained by Daly. I think she's about 8 yards from goal, something like that.
Seems about right.
We can only estimate.
Nonsense. We could BS math it.
That one thrown and right over the middle and off the foot of Comprez.
So here's a thing that is known, right? How far apart are the hash marks?
Hash marks are a third of the distance apart from. So yeah.
Okay, so we established that there's 53 in the third yard, sideline to sideline, right?
Yep. So it's 53 1/3 feet from hash mark to hash mark. That's what they use in Federation.
Okay. You call the game. I'll do some math.
All right, so here is third down for the Mountaineers. Throw right side, cannot be held by Daly. Falls to the ground, and thus the end of this drive for the Wachusett 1 Mountaineers.
I'm still working on it. I'm sorry. I don't have it yet.
Yep. So again, 31-0. It's like you've got to use your phone or maybe something else to do the math, and we're using our phone as our watches here. But there's about 6 minutes or so to go in this contest.
Sounds about right.
Yep. Leominster 2 still looking for their first score. It's 31-0.
And at this point, Dan, for the Blue Devils, it's really just about, you're not coming back and winning this game, but you still want to get out there, put in a good effort, see what you can do to try to build on this. It is just the first game of the season. Get something positive in the books as this first down pass falls incomplete.
Layla Fernandez back under center, threw it out to Kasange, and she wasn't able to haul that one in. Bit of pressure from behind. Each of the quarterbacks, Fernandez and Lay, have thrown 2 interceptions each. I mentioned this is the second session of girls flag football in Central Western. We had a session on Monday night with the Fitchburg Gray team, South Lancaster Academy, and both of the Veritas Prep teams out of Springfield. So none of those sides are playing tonight. So it's the first game of the season for all of these players. Connor makes the catch. Her flag quickly yanked by D'Amelio. It's a gain of about 7.
D'Amelio having a really good game on both sides of the ball. Throw some touchdowns, make some picks. Not a bad way to start your season.
Third down, if I can count correctly.
I think we're good. I think I figured it out, by the way, but I'm saving it for between possessions.
If there are no down markers, but you can tell the main official will line up at the line of scrimmage, and then on the other side, the side official on that opposite end lines up 7 yards away so that you can see where the no rush zone starts. And Comprez holding on to that ball for dear life with her fingertips, able to keep control of that football, cut up field a little bit, get to about 6 yards away from midfield before her flag is yanked.
Comprez had a lot of trouble just bringing that ball in, Dan. She was able to maintain possession and make the catch, but she wasn't able to focus on evading Julia Daly. Daly reached in and snatched the flag away. Now it's 4th down for the Deuce Devils, 4th and about 9. I'm pretty confident in that about 9.
Yes, because it is on a hash mark there.
Exactly.
And if we can do the math,
we can do the math. See, it's 160 feet sideline to sideline, right? But this is football, so we speak in yards. So it's 53 1/3 yards sideline to sideline. What's a third of 53 1/3? Meh 18. We're going to call it meh 18 yards from sideline to hash mark, from hash mark to hash mark, and then from hash mark to sideline. Now we've got it.
Yeah, so 9's a pretty safe number there. Hernandez will throw, lofted up, and nearly the 5th interception. And D'Amelio is so saddened with herself, drops to her knees in frustration as she felt she absolutely should have had it, but probably was thinking ahead. It's those plans of, oh, what am I going to do when I win the lottery? And then you scratch the ticket and it actually loses.
Oh, that's a skull. I shouldn't have gotten one of those skulls. Now I lose. But as it works out for D'Amelio, fourth down, knock it down. The pick would have been nice, but I think they get better field position just with the turnover.
Yeah, if her flag got taken immediately, there would have been much more for her to gain, as on first down, Jillian Sanders will come away with the catch there. Make her way to about 7 yards from goal. Second down for the Mountaineers. O'Brien under center, whips it across off the hands of Daly and then off of a couple of Deuce Devils, and then it falls to the ground incomplete.
Close quarters there. Throwing into double coverage was Lucy O'Brien. Again, just a little bit behind Julia Daly. It's tough with those crossing receivers. You've got to really, figure out not just where she is, but where she's going to be by the time the ball gets there. That's a very tough pass, particularly for a young and perhaps inexperienced quarterback.
About 9 yards to go, lofted up left side. It's going to be caught. Touchdown Mountaineers, Chloe Bergeron.
So you remember what I was saying about that being a very difficult pass for a young and perhaps inexperienced quarterback? Well, it turns out that Lucy O'Brien's a quick study, because that one was right on the money.
Exactly the throw you'd like to see. And for Lucy O'Brien, she gets that touchdown throw to make it 37-0. And I believe all particular rule books and rule sets of girls flag football will say that mercy is now declared at this point, and that we can etch it in stone that Wachusett are the winners.
So at 35 in the second half, it's just, that's it, good game, folks. That's we're done here. Is that pretty much what we're saying?
It's something to that effect. I think there's an interpretation you could still continue to play the game, but the result is etched in stone at this point.
I see. So it is up to the discretion, and it being the first game of the season. Get your players some experience.
You've still got a few more minutes to play. I imagine as Springfield International is about to get another touchdown.
Should I stop you because I've heard that before?
That I imagine they want a little more experience. In this case, there's no conversion here.
No, they just kind of handed it over to Leominster.
It's also possible that there may have been something that caused that last play to get called off and we didn't see it, and I'm not going to try to pretend.
It's very possible that we missed things, Dan. We are but two men. We have a combined 4 eyes. Well, glasses. We have a combined 6 eyes.
If my glasses prescription was ready, I could have had 8. My eyesight's not that bad.
I was going to say, are those prescription binoculars? What are we doing here?
My eyesight's not that bad, but my insurance has free glasses on it, so. They said it's like you can go from 90% eyesight to 100% eyesight if you wear these.
Hey, $0 better eyes? I'd take that.
Give it a shot. It's like it's in production a little bit. That was second down, and now that the players are lining up to shake hands, I believe we've reached the end of this game, and we can say with absolute certainty that the Wachusett Mountaineers, the Wachusett 1 Mountaineers, if you will, are victors here today in girls flag football, beating Leominster 2 by a score of what we believe is 37-0.
A dominating victory on both sides of the ball for Wachusett. They come out first game of the year. They set a really good marker for themselves, putting every other team in the league on notice. Just a thorough stomping of the Deuce Devils in this one.
It's definitely the performance you wanted to see out of Wachusett to start off. They got some experience under their belt in the first season. This year, the participation numbers skyrocketing in Holden and points around to the point that they field 2 teams this season. And we're going to see the other Wachusett team very shortly. The Wachusett 2 side will get their first ever game against Fitchburg Red.